Hello, welcome back to the Catabolic Window. This is episode 61. It's no longer a round number, so that's quite displeasing. And Luke's just told me that I labeled the YouTube videos wrong, so there is no episode 59. You just got 58 twice. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. We've had a little chit chat, so we've probably wasted all the quality content, so there's probably nothing left. Luke, mate, what have you got in store for us this podcast? Give us like a teaser, because we never do this. Give a tease of what's going to happen on this podcast. What we're going to
What,
talk about.
what do you mean quality content? We never have any of that, bro.
Yeah, so
What,
just
I
another
don't
day in the
understand what
office.
you're on.
Another day in the office,
Just
bruv.
another day in the office, yeah. Right. This podcast has been thoroughly planned. We know exactly what we're going to talk about. I've got one topic, which is genetics, and another topic, which is a question for Jack, which he can get his big brain thinking about.
Big.
Don't think about anything else when I say big Jack. You know I'm talking about your brain, mate. Um, Thinking about for the rest of the episode, which is something the industry is not talking about enough,
Ooh. Okay.
which we are going to get to. So, big man, what have you been up to this week? What's going on?
This week I'm
Give me
ill.
the lowdown.
I'm ill. That's pretty much the long and short of
So
it.
instead of being injured, you decided to get ill this week.
I've decided to get ill. Yeah. But
Yeah. Oh, so
it's
no
being
progress
managed
made.
okay. It's being managed okay. I got some antibiotics on the go, and but other than that, we're feeling all right. A little bit nauseous, but we move. Appetite's fine. For the most part, so we just keep cracking on because I've come off the back of a deload, so I do feel pretty fresh. Taking a few more rest days because sessions wipe me out a little bit more. I do feel pretty wiped today. Yesterday was legs, but we'll be fine. And obviously we're going up to Derby on Friday to train with the boys, so that's good. And then other than that,
Come
it's
on,
literally been um, my body weight fluctuating up and down aggressively based on how fatigued I am. So it's good. We've got like a £3 fluctuation most of this week, which is mad.
right. Two quick fire questions. Is
Yeah.
the infection in any way related to your disgusting eyebrow piercing?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's such a shame. The other question was, did you have a Domino's today then, if it was legs yesterday, to
uh,
replenish that glycogen?
no, I didn't because two things. If I swapped out more than one meal for it, I well, if I were to even match the calories I would normally have with a Domino's, I think my appetite tomorrow would be shot. Like I'm barely clinging to my food as is, and I just don't fancy it that much. I just don't want to spend 30 quid on a meal that I don't really care about. So
I
if I'm
think
gonna,
30 quid.
yeah, brother, because when you get a Domino's, it's got to be a large, and you got to get a side or two as well. So,
You have to. It's in the rules.
mate, last time I did that, I dropped like a pound. It was bonkers. No, I haven't. I haven't been eating anything untracked because I just like I've missed. I had one day of missing meals because I threw up all day, and then the rest of the time I've been fine. But today I've got a little pang of hunger, and I don't want to bury that. But yeah, lesson to the listeners, right? Is yeah, today I could easily swap out my last two meals for a Domino's and probably gain like 1.5k calories. But then how many calories am I gonna miss out on tomorrow because of my appetite? Well, if I miss two meals for me, that's 2,000 calories. So, and that's not even that unrealistic to miss 2 out of 5 meals because you ate something pretty big the night before. So, again, that would be a net loss of 500 calories. And right now, I'm trying to keep my body weight up high. I'm trying to make sure that I'm still gaining and I'm trying to keep my appetite on track. So, these are the things that I think people don't think about. I did do a story on it before, but just because you need to view the impact of like what you're doing. And this is something that I don't think a lot of people think about.
It's somewhere, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's somewhere a lot of people go wrong where they think about like, what can I do to make today easier? Oh, my
Yeah,
appetite's fucked. I'm gonna get a Domino's.
yeah,
Well, your digestion sucks anyway,
yeah,
so that's like twofold worse.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't mean like it's not that you have to eat exactly the same thing every day to make progress. You don't. But when you're really struggling at the top end of a
yeah.
bulk and then you're throwing in loads of
Mm,
different food volume, it can make it much harder than it needs to be to stick to. We're all for like having a bit of flexibility here and there. Something I heard today was everything in moderation, including moderation itself. Like
yeah,
there's
that's quite
some
good.
times where you need to be a bit more measured with things, and there's other times where you can take the piss a little bit more. And
Yeah,
this right now is not one of those times for you. So
no.
talk us through that scale weight fluctuation. What's going on there? What do you mean by aggressive?
So first day I went on antibiotics, I gained £3, um, and then I trained, and then the after the rest day I dropped £3, and I trained legs yesterday, and now I'm up £3. So I seem to be, whenever I'm a little bit more fatigued and run down, I seem to be jumping up to around 212, 211. And then when I come down and I have a rest day, I'm about 208, 209. For reference, the calorie intake difference on those days is only 400 calories, only 100 carb difference. So it won't be anything meaningful. Physique, like the look that I have, is fluctuating quite a lot as well. It's looking a little flat in some areas. Um, but with stuff like this, I
No, you're
just,
just small, mate. You're
yeah,
not flat.
exactly.
You're just small.
Exactly. Fat and flat, mate. I just have to, take the bad with the good, be realistic. And today normally would have been a training day. I trained legs yesterday because I missed a day and I felt really good. I felt like I wanted to train. Today I felt really good. I felt like I wanted to train, but I know that I'm training Friday. I don't think I could do 3 days in a row. That seems to rinse me at the best of times. So I've tactically taken a rest day today. I'll do one upper tomorrow at Derby. And then I'll take the weekend off and I'll see how I feel next week. The thing about illness is people like to overthink it. And realistically, if you're being a dickhead and you're pushing yourself in the gym, when you realistically should be in bed because you're not a functional person, right? We've all been there. But we also know when you've just got a little sniffle and you just sat in front of Netflix and you can't be asked to go and get out there. So you do need to listen and be realistic and think like, what I ask myself is, if I had a little bit of caffeine right now, if I listened to a couple of songs, and if I started to do a couple of sets, how would I feel? And sometimes the answer is, yeah, not good. Sometimes you have to go to the gym to find out. But yesterday I was like, well, I feel pretty good. I don't feel that run down. I'm on antibiotics, but other than that, I feel fine. Like, I'm not going to let a little asterisk get in my way. And guess what? I progressed everything. I felt pretty good. Today I don't feel any more rinsed than usual. Like, maybe a smidge, but nothing too concerning. So I think it was a good choice.
Oh, mate, that's spinners.
That's spinners, bruv. That is spinners. That's what I'm talking about.
We're getting that in every episode. I don't care.
Spinners.
So yeah, £3 is pretty aggressive
Yeah,
scale weight
quite a
wise,
lot.
especially like one day to the next.
Mm.
I think the most I've ever seen, like under sort of regular circumstances, has been uh, maybe 1.5 pounds. Like
I've never
beyond that, it's a
seen
bit.
it fluctuate that much. Normally, yeah, 1 to 1.5, but we have to bear in mind that as scale weight gets heavier, the potential amount that you have to fluctuate is going to increase anyway. So let's say let's round it down to £2, right? Let's say I'm fluctuating £2. That's still 1%. And as Luke liked me phrasing it before, if I'm fluctuating £2, that's 1%. I'm still 99% stable, right, with my scale weight. So 3% of like 3%, £3 fluctuation for me at 212 ish as of this morning isn't
Dude,
gonna
the Olympia,
be.
mate.
I
Jeez.
know, right? I was gonna put a joke in the chat, be like, Waden at 212, just hold here, maintenance phase until I get fucking shredded. Just do 212, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's not going to be as big of a fluctuation. But also, we know what's going on there, and we know that there's going to be reasons behind that fluctuation. And ultimately, right, whenever I talk to clients about this, and I'll say this, and then I'll shut up and pass the mic to Luke. If you know that you've been consistent, why are you stressed about fluctuations? I know, hand on heart, if I message Tom, I've had no untracked meals this week, I've gone up £3. Okay, I don't care. I've followed the plan. Tom's not going to be stressed. I'm not stressed. We know that it's going to be a fluctuation. And hey, even if I gain £3 this week and I hold that £3 and I'm permanently like £3 up or more, I still followed the plan. I'm not stressed, you know? Whereas if I'd had a Domino's and I was up £3, I'd be like, okay, maybe that explains it. If I've binged all week and I'm up £3,
Maybe
okay,
it's my fault.
yeah, exactly. But if I know that I've followed the plan and I'm also on medication and I've gone up £3, I'm not stressed. But I see this all the time. Sometimes clients, like you were talking about this, Luke, with your rate of gain, sometimes it slows, you make no changes, and then it just jumps. And people tend to freak out. Or same with people dieting, they don't see a drop and then and you're like, hold on, wait, the drop will come because you know their body and they're like freaking out. It's like these kind of things happen. If you know that you've adhered to the plan, you have nothing to worry about because we know that it's not going to be anything meaningful. Any weight that you gain that quickly, you can easily lose that quickly, but also you're going to fluctuate. I'm sorry, it's just the way that it is.
Dude, fucking nailed it.
Yeah, I
Jeez.
talked for way too long there. So you say some
Smashed it.
shit, mate. How's your week
We're
been?
bringing this content out of the park. Do you want to know the most exciting thing that's happened to me this week?
No, but I did ask, so go on. Why have you got your teeth out?
I haven't got braces anymore, mate. They're gone.
Oh,
Benito.
fully done.
Extra handsome now. Jeez. Need
Mate,
every ounce I
you're
can get.
actually in the you're gonna fly out to Turkey and everything. You've got your jaw done, you got your teeth done. This guy's gonna get his hairline fixed. Hairline's looking strong with the hat on, gotta say.
Yeah, man. Fixing it up. Fix it.
You're gonna get
Let's
that.
go.
You're gonna get those bone extensions. They make your femur and your tibia
Nah, mate.
longer.
Fuck that.
Tibia and
Imagine
tibia.
being that insecure that you get fucking bone extensions.
Yeah, now that is mental because they
That's
sound
wild.
horrific. Like because they break the bone and graft more bone into the middle, don't they? So
Yeah,
they
something like that.
yeah yeah they they do it with your femur as well, right? It's not just your
I'd
fibula
hope
and
so.
tibia. Yeah, but like like the amount of pressure that those bad boys can hold, like getting your femur broken and recovering from that must be horrible because it's the strongest bone in the body, right? So imagine how rough recovering from that eventually breaking is. That's
Really?
gotta fucking suck.
The strongest bone.
It is, isn't it? What?
I'm making a dick joke, don't
I
worry.
thought you fucking would be, dickhead. It's all cartilage, mate.
It's all cartilage.
Just grab the
Yeah,
tip
that
and
is
pull it, and it will grow. No, that's not true.
true. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they'd have to do the femur as well. They couldn't just do the tib
Yeah, you
fit.
just got really long
Yeah.
calves.
Imagine that though. You get height surgery and then your squat is worse. What a fucking L.
Yeah, your like knee
Like
travel is minimal.
if I got it, I'd have to say, right, tibia only, please, lads. I know it might look a bit weird, but I just need to be even better at squatting. Sorry. Come on, sort it out.
Just
That
have
must be
that
such a
like
pain in the arse though, because then they've got to do the tibia and the fibia. Whereas if they do the femur, they just do the femur, but it's a bigger bone.
I reckon they
That's why
keep.
like really tall people die sooner as well, because their bones are like their bones are more fragile
Is it? I
because of
thought it
how
was
long.
just. I thought it was heart stress trying to pump blood to just
Oh yeah, yeah,
increase
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
area.
that too. But as in like if they fall over, like they're way more likely to get injured.
Oh, okay.
I don't have
I
any studies to support this claim. I just heard it somewhere.
there's
Sorry,
a happy medium though, isn't there? Because if you're ridiculously short, like if you're born with a defect, sure, I'm not going to make any jokes at your expense, mate.
sorry,
Don't
Peter
worry.
Dinklage.
But like if you're born with like a dwarfism or something, then you also tend to have a shorter lifespan, right? But I think it wouldn't that just be due to like developmental issues, like your heart just isn't strong enough or your bones aren't or whatever. There's an end shape, right?
Sorry, dude. I couldn't hear the last 5 seconds of what you said because my man's dealing ice creams. Get out of here, dude.
Right as you said that, a
Come
police
on,
car was going past me, so maybe
you know.
he's getting caught.
Oh, mate, I saw a massive car crash the other day.
Really?
It was scary. So you know when you're going down a dual carriageway, you
Yeah,
got like two lanes on your side, metal barrier in the middle, two lanes the other side.
that is a dual
And when you're on
carriageway.
like a dickhead, and when you're on a country road, sometimes there's like a section in the middle so that people from one side can go on to the other to like get across because like
Oh
country
yeah,
roads, there's
yeah.
like
I'm with you. I'm with you.
that sort of thing.
Yeah,
That section in the middle.
yeah,
So what I think had happened is someone had turned and not seen a car, and like, dude, there were like four fire engines like lifting people out of cars and shit. It was
yeah.
mental.
Ooh.
It was not looking good.
Yeah, that's horrible. Um, I saw a car crash happen in front of me when I was driving back home from Wales, and like literally, it was like a blacked out BMW, and it was on a motorway, so it was the second lane. There was a big truck in the slow lane. It went to go into the slow lane, clipped tires with this truck, and then like span off to the right and like fucking accelerated across the motorway and smashed into the guard. It was so weird.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we like drove past them, and they were like, because it literally happened in front of us. We drove past them because we're on a motorway. It's not safe to just stop. And there were like people like fucking like holding their heads and stuff. I was like, oh shit. But we didn't stop to help.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah, we didn't stop to help. So that's not ideal. But also in that situation, I'm not putting myself at risk. Sorry. I also had my dog and my girlfriend in the car. I'm not putting everyone at
Also,
risk.
what are you gonna do? Be like, yeah, mate, do you want some chicken and rice? Well, that,
Yeah, like
no.
yeah, someone will report it. That's a shit attitude to have, but someone will report it. I believe in people to an extent. Anyway,
Well, even if the cars drive forward, they can still call and say
yeah,
that
exactly.
something's just
Call the popo.
forward.
Call the police, bruv. Right. Do you want to get onto our
That's a sound of
first?
the police.
Do you want to get onto our first topic?
Oh yeah, right, bro.
Hmm.
Genetics.
Yeah,
What do you think about your genetics?
mid. But I think most people say that. But I think mine are mid.
Why are they mid?
Um, because I'm not Jack Eagles. Um, but I'm not
And that's
exactly.
like top 0.001%. So
Yeah, but I'm not exactly struggling. I suppose it's you. When people ask that question, I suppose all you're doing is comparing yourself to your rate of progress to the people around you who have been training for a similar amount of time, or are a similar age. And I would say I know a decent chunk of people bigger than me and a decent chunk of people smaller than me. I feel like I'm in the middle. Um, I don't
I'm one of the
feel
bigger ones, right?
that. Uh, I feel like, yeah, don't know, in the middle. But I guess it's hard to gauge because you're always going to have people bigger and always have people smaller, so it's hard to say.
So what parts of your genetics would you say are like decent, and what parts would you say are a bit worse?
That's a real tough one, man. That's a real tough one. Because again, I don't really know. Like, for example, I've never really had an issue with growing lats, but then is that like genetics or am I just quite good at growing lats? Like, do I just train them properly? You know what I mean? Maybe I just happen to train them a little bit better. Um, I don't know. I don't think I have anything like really stand out. My quads, my legs in general used to be a lot bigger than my upper, and they weren't very strong. So I think they may be a little bit of a genetic strong point. Like I was hack squatting 2 plates, and they were like pretty fucking big back in the day. Um, so I don't know.
In the day.
Maybe appetite, but even then, as I bulk, that dies off. Oh, fuck those, bro. I feel like there's nothing that I ever think like, oh, that's really poor, that's really crap, and there's nothing that I think like, oh, that's really really good. You know?
The thing I'd probably highlight for you would be like propensity to get injured is not particularly ideal.
Yeah, that is a little bit
And that's
high
one
to
of
be
the
fair.
things that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to
True.
their genetics is like, how likely are you to get injured? Because if you're getting injured every 3 months versus someone that gets injured every 3 years,
Mm,
that's a vastly different amount of progress that they're able to make because it's not
mm,
just, I trained yesterday, so I make progress today. It's how long are you able to consistently train for? And if you're having to take a month off training a muscle group well because you're fucked, like you are gonna see a big negative over time.
that's a good point. Um, to be fair as well, maybe I feel like my ability to train hard and do it for an extended period of time is pretty good. I like to think that I train pretty decently hard, so and I enjoy my training. So you could argue there's um, a good genetic plus point. I guess it depends. Like when you're saying genetic, some of it is obviously going to be environmental. Like I didn't step into the gym and like get injured, but then also train really hard. You know what I mean? Like it is somewhat a learned thing. But yeah, I think to be fair, I do get a little bit more injured than other people. I do have to be a little bit more cautious than other people. Now I guess you could also say that being born without hips, that was quite a bad one as well.
Yeah,
But
no hip.
we've overcome that. So um, I don't know. I'm pretty good at holding on to strength in a diet, but again, like relative to what? Fuck knows, man. It's such a hard thing to gauge. What would you say then? How good would you rate your genetics? Turn around the question on you.
I'd say maybe somewhere between 60 to 80% of average.
Decent.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what if wait. So are you counting average as like 50%?
As in like above, as in like 10 to 30% above average.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You get what I mean?
yeah.
Not worse than average.
No,
But
no, no. I get what you meant. Yeah. So average is like in the middle, which makes sense.
yeah, yeah, that is what an average is, bro. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, if you take training somewhat seriously, and if you compare our rate of progress to the average person in the gym, not in terms of bodybuilding, just the average person in the gym, we're in the top 1%, I would say. So it depends what gauge you're using, but yeah, I think it's fair to say probably above
Yeah,
average.
I'm talking people that train.
Yeah,
Because the vast majority of people that train will look better than people that don't train. There are just some like there was always that one kid at school that would have like a full six pack the second
Mm.
he turned 13. And you're like, what in the, like, what? Just explain this to me, please.
Yeah,
How does
jarring.
this even, yeah.
Jarring, mate. Jarring. I used
Okay,
to hate
cool.
that kid. What would you say your strong points are, and then any weak points?
Strong points. Okay.
Yeah,
Probably I
I'd
hold
say.
body fat pretty
Oh,
well.
100%. 100%.
Mentally, mentally, I'm very like I don't really struggle that much when it comes to sort of sticking to the plan, which is a lot
Yeah,
of people's issue.
yeah, 100%.
But I would say that on the other side of that, I also overthink the shit that I'm doing quite a lot,
Fair.
which is swings around about. It's like something I didn't think of today. I was on the PT project call and we were just talking
Mm.
about like um photo shoot prep and like what struggles people have during it and in it. And Paul was just sort of like, have all of you guys had a binge before, basically?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, no, I haven't. I've never like uncontrollably ate food and not
Yeah,
been able to stop, even though I didn't want to stop.
yeah.
And it being an objectively like or a decent sized amount of food. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people overuse the word binge
Yeah,
and
100%.
just say, "Oh, I had a fucking pack of Maltesers. I binged, mate."
It's not a binge.
Don't know, don't know if that's a binge. Uh, but yeah, like that's one of the things which at some point a lot of people do go through, and
Mm.
I've not had that yet. I'm saying I never will. But men like I don't really struggle to stick to the plan,
That's a
which is a
strong genetic plus point, mate, to be fair. I'd
strong
say,
positive.
if without stroking your ego too much, I'd say your
Yeah, yeah, come on then.
delts
Let's go.
delts are a real good one on you. And yeah, mate, every time I see your delts, I'm like, fucking hell, on a natty. Ridiculous. I'd say your delts are good. They've got very good shape. If you don't agree with me, you got to agree there.
Yeah,
And
look at
biceps
some
as well.
pictures now. Like, oh yeah,
Jealous of
massive.
the buys. But then, of course,
Yeah,
elbow.
that's actually takes on to another one, which is triceps, which are hindered by my elbows,
Yeah, there
which
you go.
isn't really anything that I've done training wise.
Mm,
There's never been a moment where I've gone, oh, fuck my elbows here. Like they've
mm,
just always been a bit dodgy, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. And there's not too much that I can do about it aside from do everything that I can in order to work on it, which takes us on to the thing that I wanted to talk about, which is that your genetics don't matter because
yeah,
they're already determined.
yeah,
So you can sit there and wallow and go, oh yeah, maybe my structure's not the best for classic, and I struggle a little bit when it comes to post diet. I just eat a lot of food, and maybe I get injured a bit more frequently than I'd like. Yeah, you can worry about all of that shit, but it doesn't actually change anything.
yeah,
And all that I think focusing on external stuff does is make you think like what's the point,
yeah.
like who's giving me all of this bad shit going on, like why can't I just be more gifted, why can't I be Jack Eagles instead of Jack Archer, you know? Like
That's a good one. Oh, mate.
yeah it just makes you think that like the analogy I used the other day was I can curse my parents for making me a hobbit with a receding hairline and a fucking hairy back that I can't shave, but it's not going to change anything, is it? Like
Exactly, yeah.
no matter how pissed off I can get about it. But the things that you can control is how much do you learn? Okay, yeah, genetically your back might have grown decently,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure the more you learn about how to train your back only benefited
Oh,
that. So
yeah.
that's taking
It
something
didn't
which was
just
a decent
appear.
strong point to
Mm.
even better. Making sure you're getting enough sleep. You're in control of that to a large
Yeah.
extent. Yes, there's going to be some environmental shit going on, but you can have more of an impact on that. If you decide to not go to sleep, that is your fault. Um, like not missing the gym, sticking to your calories, your macros, which all of this stuff is influenced by genetics for sure. If you
Yeah.
mentally like get bored really fucking quickly, okay, instead of us saying, "Oh, this fat loss shit just isn't for me, mate. I'm just not going to do it." Why don't we come up with some strategies to help with that? And then you've got obviously training hard, planning for your meals out, doing your cardio, all of that stuff.
Yeah. I think a lot of the genetic things that we've talked about, like propensity to stay on plan and injury risk. Well, okay, let's talk about propensity to stay on plan. Well, that's a learned skill. Yeah, you can have it genetically, but like it's also a learned skill. Like I have spoken about tons of times how I used to struggle with just sticking on plan, like getting bored, binging, coming out of diets and struggling there. And it took me a while to find that rhythm. And do you know what helped the most was accepting that that's something that I struggle with. I wasn't going to sit in a room of people who don't struggle with that and act like I'm one of them. Like, no, I came from a background. I remember when we had Ben Shepherd on, and I was literally on the podcast talking to him, being like, "Have you tried this? What kind of things helped you?" Like, if you know where you're going to have stuff that you're shit at. Blame whoever you want. Blame the fact that you grew up fat. Blame the fact that you have crap parents. Blame the fact that, I don't know, like whatever influenced you, right? The fact that someone threw Maltesers at you when you had a binge, quote unquote, right? But it's still down to you. I know for me, after when my hunger starts to ramp up, I get probably a little bit more food focused than other people would. And in a diet, that's okay. But when it comes to the gaining phase after, my appetite and food focus only increases. If I eat untracked because of my digestion, I tend to gain a lot of weight. So I just need to be more careful. That's fine. I just need to have that conversation with myself where I'm marrying up the long term versus the short term. Luke doesn't need to worry so much about his untracked meals because for him, appetite is something that dies off a little bit more quickly. He doesn't get that food focused or he doesn't currently experience that. That's fine. I don't need to worry about how I train my elbows. Luke does. Luke doesn't need to worry about how he trains his knees. I do. So these are things that we just need to bear in mind. Like, if I ignored the fact that I have a slightly higher, I think, propensity for injury, then I just train like a monk. But I need to bear this in mind with every single movement that I'm doing. I'm thinking, okay, am I making a sensible choice in load? Am I moving this correctly? What am I doing last time? Let's film it, give it a comparison. And so I just need to bear that in mind. So a lot of the stuff that we've talked about is, it's not. Can you imagine if I was like, oh, I've got a high likelihood to fall off plan, so I'm just going to keep falling off plan? Like, no, I wouldn't have made anywhere near the progress that I have in the last year if I didn't just sit myself and have a conversation down whenever I catch myself wandering and go, right, mate, this is what you do. How are you going to stick on plan without like while making something? And so yeah, I probably change my meal plan every like 12 weeks, but I still stay on the plan. I just change up my foods, and that's fine. That works for me, you know. So a lot of the genetic factors that you're dealing with, you just need to learn to work around them and just accept that, you know, if you know how you function, it's only going to serve you better. Like, again, Luke with his elbows, if he just bin that off, he wouldn't have arms, they would be snapped in half. So he needs to listen to the fact that, oh, crap, I was born with shit elbows. So I'll just work around it. And so he does. And guess what? His arms have been growing. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Going back to what you were saying there about like how sticking to the plan is a learnt skill, I think
Yeah.
that's really important because if you were to say to me, who has admitted like I don't really struggle that much when it comes to sticking to the plan,
Mm.
3 years ago, you need to stick to the plan that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
What? I don't know how to do half of these exercises.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't control my joints in this position without
Mm-hmm.
having some problems. I can't tolerate this much volume
Mm.
because I don't train that well. Yeah,
Yeah.
like as an example, it changes over time, and that's why as time goes on, you can set almost loftier goals for yourself because you fucking got the evidence that you could achieve this shit.
Yeah.
If you step into the gym first day and like, you know what, mate, Miss Bikini Olympia, let's go. I don't know why I said Miss, but you know what I'm saying.
Mr. Bikini, men's wellness.
No, I think what I was thinking is that it's a bit trendy for girls to compete, like
Oh
as in
yeah.
start training to compete. I think that's where my brain was going.
It's because they view wellness as like not in shape. But that's a good point though. Is like
Dude, I've seen some wellness girls in person and it's fucking retarded. They are in shape.
oh, but well, some of them in the amateur ranks aren't, but that's because of how it's perceived. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's
hundred
just
percent.
shit
Yeah,
wellness.
yeah,
That's like
exactly.
saying classic guys are fridges because all the people in the amateur ranks are fridges.
Or men's physique is out of shape because that seems to be
Yeah.
where the out of shape guys go. But yeah, like you said, like the plan evolves over time. I mean, like the stuff that we track when we started, we didn't think we'd be tracking like blood pressure, blood glucose, salt, water, sleep. Stuff like this, where I didn't think I'd ever be doing that. I remember I literally used to just track cardio as did I do it, yes or no? Calories as from this range of calories to this range of calories, how much did you eat? And that was like my first ever calorie target. And the same for protein. Someone would be like, "What's your plan?" I'd be like, "Yeah, 2,000 to 2,200 calories." Like I had a range, and I would just track protein. I didn't care about carbs or fats. And to me, that was like a restriction. I was trying to, get used to this plan. I wasn't used to having this level of scrutiny, and I would have as many untracked meals as I wanted. Whereas now it's like once or twice per week. following a meal plan, salt, hydration, all that shit that I literally said 2 seconds ago. And we've worked our
And
way up
we're
to
on
that.
the other end of that with the untracked meals thing. I was going to say this earlier,
Mm.
was that you're like, right, okay, I need to make sure I'm not too much of a dickhead,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I need to make sure I'm a little bit more of a dickhead to reverse it, because I won't eat enough, and then I'll be like 3 pounds down. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake.
This is informed eating, as you were going on
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
right? So using a few context clues. So I know that if I'm bulking and my food's quite high right now, if I swapped out 2 meals and I went to a restaurant, I'd have to eat a fair chunk to gain weight to a restaurant. But if I'm getting a Domino's, I don't need that much to eat back what I've swapped out, right? But if I haven't eaten all day, I can go heavier. But if I'm just fresh out of a diet or in a diet and I'm swapping out 1 meal, I need to be very, very sensible because my body is very, very sensitive to putting on water, putting on fat, being responsive, whatever you want to call it. And I'm also someone with a very big appetite and I like food. So if I go to a restaurant, it's always a temptation for me to have 3 courses. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but it's always a temptation. And that's fine. Based on my phase, I either will or won't. So, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Luke. Like your untracked meal, to an extent, will change based on your phase. If you were in the back end of prep and for whatever reason you were still doing an untracked meal, you'd probably be very, very, very cautious. Whereas if you're peak off season and you're like throwing up your food, it's going to be entirely different.
Ideally, let's not do that.
Yeah, peak off season. You said you had a question as well.
Oh, yeah. Question. So watermelon, skis, Snowdonia, Jack. This is so you can find it in the recording because we've got 3 minutes, so that wouldn't be enough
Oh,
time.
cheers! Thank you.
Sent you nothing, mate.
Thank God. Thank you.
No worries. See you in 2 seconds.
All right, mate. See you in 2 seconds. Bosh.
Yes, Jackie boy, I do have a question, mate. I'm never saying that again. That was weird.
That was terrible.
What
That was
is
sensual.
what is something you think the industry is not talking about enough?
Oh, that's really good. Have you got one prepared? Because I might give a crap
Yeah,
answer. All right, good. This is off the cuff. What is something that the
I wrote this down
industry
the other day because it was annoying me.
doesn't talk about enough? Damn, that's really difficult. Um, what if
So
we
the
go?
essence of it is something that's incredibly underrated
Yeah, yeah.
within bodybuilding and
I
physique
get you.
development.
I think probably maybe now, a little bit boring, might be a bit predictable, but I'd say enjoyment. A lot of people not emphasizing enjoyment enough. Just because something is arguably better on paper doesn't mean it's going to be better for that person. Particularly with training, we seem to be able to accept that if someone doesn't want rice, they can have their pasta that they requested or their bread. But if someone doesn't want to do a face away cable curl, we're not happy to give them a dumbbell. Or if someone doesn't want to do a length and partial on the prime lateral raise loaded at the bottom, that and they want to do a dumbbell lateral raise, that they're wrong or whatever. So I think that's what I'm going to go for. Is enjoyment is a big factor that is missing, and is why people get into it in the first place.
Yeah, I think like people like us, Tom, that sort of thing, definitely cotton on to that a little bit more and make sure that it's
Yeah,
it's something that people care about. But there is still a large swath of the more shut up and train hard crew that are just like fucking do it. And I think the reason why a lot of them say that is because that's what they enjoy.
yeah,
That's what they enjoy, and they forget that that's not what everyone else
yeah,
likes.
yeah. Like I see this all the time with like people hating on cuffs or saying just stick to barbells, dumbbells, and I think maybe almost they think they're saving people. That like, oh, I feel like the only way I can grow is with my cuff and my cable, but I fucking hate it. And someone's like, no, it's okay. You can use dumbbells and barbells. Like maybe they think they're saving us. Um, but like
They're just on the edge of the thing, like going to fall down to Cloud City, and they're like, "Throw the cuff away, come to me."
Yeah, they're like we're like freezing ourselves in kryptonite, and he's kryptonite. What the fuck's
Carbonite, dickhead.
carbonite, bruv? That's embarrassing. Superman reference in there. Freezing ourselves in carbonite, and they're Princess Leia in their skimpy bikini coming to save us. Um,
I'd like to see you in a skimpy bikini, mate.
all right, if this podcast gets 10 story mentions, I'll wear a bikini. Um,
I'm going to send this to at least 50 people. Can you mention this on your story,
can I do it
please?
when I'm lean?
Yeah, fine.
All right, calm. Then I'll happily do it. But yeah, like I think you're right. Like the people who say that are just the people that enjoy that. And you see it all the time with clients. Like you give them a lift and they're like, I just really don't like it. You're like, okay, fine. Like let's do something else. Like what do you want to do? Because if I give someone a cable lateral raise loaded and then lengthened, I can sit there all day and tell them how it's going to give them more muscle. But if they just don't train hard, or they hate it, they don't look forward to it, I want to escalate their volume and they're like, oh my God, not another set. They're rushing their way through. They're going to get more out of a different exercise. And there's a lot more to muscle growth than just this on paper is better than this. They're only better if you do them to the same quality. If you don't do them to the same quality, one is not better.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your one? Was it that? Was it enjoyment?
No, but it somewhat links into what I was saying in response to that, to that even. So I would say that something the industry isn't talking about enough is the different responses and the variance among people. For example,
Mm.
there's people that can lift weights and they just don't grow. There's
Yeah.
people that can lift weights at low volume and they don't grow that well, but you put them at high volume and they grow really well.
Yeah.
And there's the exact reverse of that. There aren't people behind the scenes going, oh, we better get them doing all high volume so they spend more time in the gym. No, it's because those people do high volume and it works better for them. And the bros who say you need to do low volume, you just need to train hard, mate. That's because that's what works better for them. And
Yeah.
there's an appreciation of there are different things that work. It's not one way or the other. Like if I can look at you and go, you tell me a couple of things you believe about training, and I can predict everything you do with your clients,
Mm.
that's a good indication that you haven't got a very good idea of how people
Yeah.
differ.
I've said this a lot to like when people come to me from like a bad coaching experience or talk to me about another coaching experience where
They work with me. Fucking hell.
where it's
Why
clear
did
that
I say that?
that's so funny. Luke is joking for reference. I've just saved your business, mate. Um, where people have like had the kitchen sink thrown at them. Um, like one was some
Just
guy.
drugs.
No. Some guy was like, well, to be fair, it works for that, but I've never really encountered that often. Like most coaches seem to be pretty sensible, or at least my clients are picking sensible coaches before they come to me, and I'm the most sensible choice. Um, but there was I forget who it was. But well, I won't say even if I did remember. But someone was working with a certain high end coach, and they were struggling to grow their quads, and they just gave them a whole bunch of different squat variations. I think it was like barbell squat, then Smith squat, then hack squat, something stupid like that. And it's like this tells me that you don't understand why they're not growing, and you think that I'm just going to give them more of the same thing because for me that seems to work. That screams to me you have no idea why this works. Same thing for when clients have come to me from meal plans that clearly haven't worked with their psychology, and as soon as the coaching experience is over and they lose that meal plan, they gain back all that weight because the coach doesn't know how to convey nutritional information without saying, here's exactly what I tell you to eat. And they would say, I had one guy saying that it was just far too much meat. He tried to convey it to the coach. The coach wasn't happy to swap the meat out at all. And that's ridiculous. Why is the meat there protein? There's so many different ways to get in protein. Are you joking? You really couldn't think of something else
I
other
mean,
than
it's
just,
so much better if it comes from an animal.
yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. Like, oh, man, it's just so frustrating. Like, and it just every single time I'm like, this just screams to me that you don't understand why. You just know in inverted commas what. I got in good shape by eating a bunch of chicken. It made me miserable, but I've got abs now. So if Steve from down the road eats a bunch of chicken, he's gonna get abs too. Brilliant. Do you know? And like it just screams to me you don't know what's going on. Like Luke said, if you're a coach, you shouldn't have a style, you shouldn't have a method, because you will find someone where it doesn't work 100%. Like if you have a method of programming that you go to, you will find someone it doesn't work for. You need to treat absolutely everyone like a blank slate. You can have a skeleton of the kinds of things that you do. Okay, first thing I look at, what do they need to do? How often can they train? Hey, like that's what a good coach will do. When me and Luke get
Just pointed at the
clients,
skeleton for anyone listening.
oh, that's a good point. When me and Luke get a new client, we might have a similar process, but our process isn't do a top set, do a back off. They have to do a squat. They have to train legs. They have to do this much frequency. They have to do this much volume. They have to be doing this. No, our process is probably starting off with what do they need? What can they do? What are our limitations? And how do I get them there? That's probably the process that we're starting with. That makes sense. But that isn't a concrete skeleton plan that we're giving people. When we give meal plans, we're also not giving everyone a meal plan. We're not giving it the same way to everyone. We're not giving the same foods to everyone. If you're a coach that has a style, fuck off. It's jarring.
And that goes back to what we were saying a couple of weeks ago, which was like, if you question something 2, 3 whys down, like, do you still have a response? Or are you just there with your dick in your hand wondering what's going on? And
Yeah.
like what you said there, like you can have an idea about what to do, but there will be things that happen that don't really know. Like, to give you an example, my client Ben, absolute
Yeah.
freak,
Oh,
like
yeah.
incredible example of
Shout out,
like
Ben.
genetics and hard work. I'm sure you've had this where you've had some clients like genetically you're just like, what is even going on there? Did they make you in a bath?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, literally, bro.
You're jealous. Living through them.
But yeah, normally post diet, you want to be pretty cautious with the rate of gain. You want to make sure that they don't lose all the detail that they've just worked their ass off for. He's up 10 pounds in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Normally you're like, oh fuck, 10 pounds, that's a lot of weight. And you're like, he just looks better.
Yeah.
So
why would you not want
panic.
that?
Yeah, I'm not gonna panic.
Imagine, so
Fine.
Luke there, you've given him £10 of tissue, or £10 of scale weight, right? That's a better way to phrase it. £10 of scale weight in 2 weeks. Imagine if you stuck to, no, it has to be £1 a week. You'd be in the exact same position you are now, but 8 weeks later. Like, what is the point? You're just delaying inevitable progress.
And probably worse because he's felt like he's been handicapped for that long. But on the other side of that, when we made those initial adjustments, the adjustment we made, he should have lost £1.50, £2 a week. He lost like 3, 4 pounds for several weeks in a row, which on paper doesn't make sense. But it's what fucking happened.
Yep. I love that, mate, honestly.
Yeah,
I put a thread up and I was talking about this, and I was like, there is no ideal rate of gain. If you can pile on the pounds while looking good, you feel great, your progression is higher. Like, let's say you stick to £1 a week religiously, but you go to £2, physique looks the same, you feel better, you perform better. Why would you not go there? You go to £3, okay, maybe there's not that much difference between 2 and 3, so now it's a little bit unnecessary, we're getting a little bit soft. But if someone checks in with me and they've gained weight and they look their condition is the same or improved, fantastic, brilliant, cool. Same for rate of loss. Sometimes you'll get people where scale weight just doesn't budge. It's pretty much the same start to finish. They drop a couple kilos, but you look at the pictures and you're like, where did your fat go? What the fuck? Like, you've dropped 2 kilo. You look like you've dropped 6. So it's going to vary person to person, and some people are going to benefit from different rates of gain. I mean, look at me and you. We've run deliberately different rates of, I say deliberately. Yours is deliberate. Mine is just kind of how my body is, but we've run very different rates of gains, and we've both seen very good progress off it.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do
let's bring it home.
We'll do very different rates of losses as well. Mine will be fucking anti-fat man protocol. The turbo shred.
Oh, bro. Have you seen the Fallout TV shows coming out?
No,
next month?
No, I did see an advertisement
11.
for it, but like I didn't properly look into it.
There's a proper trailer on Amazon Prime.
Oh, it's on Prime.
Dude,
Right.
if it's shit, I'm actually gonna kill myself.
It's gonna be crap, bro. I'm sorry, it is. I'm just. Like,
I hope not. No, but there's been some there's Amazon's a very mixed bag. There was obviously Rings of Power, which was shit. But then there was Reacher, which was like pretty damn good across 2 seasons.
Grand Tour, I enjoyed.
And I'm hoping it's more like Reacher.
Well, who's making it? Do we know? Because that makes a big difference.
No, I don't.
I mean, I try not to.
I like the angle that they've gone from, where we've got like doing it from the Vault Dweller perspective. So it's someone new going into the wasteland, wondering what the fuck is going on, which is what 95% of people watching the show is going to be doing. Like, me and you are watching that. We go, I know that's a mole rat. You don't need to tell me that's a mole rat. But she's going to go, what the fuck is the thing?
Yeah.
Which is good, but there needs to be enough of that like fallout in it for it to hit the spot for Fallout
you don't
fans.
want it to feel like
and not just be generic wasteland.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like painfully like, oh my god, tell me more things I know. But you also want it to be so that you could show it to people who haven't played Fallout and they're still going to enjoy it. I think that approach could be good. I never get too excited. To be fair, it's been ages since I got excited for a movie or a film. A movie or a film, a movie or a TV show, which I don't know what that says about me, but I try not to get too excited for them. But I mean, Bethesda's games have been like they've been getting some hit and miss reviews anyway. So I feel like, and that's where they're strong at. So I don't know how I feel about the TV show, but I'm happy to be proven wrong, Bethesda. Also, if anyone at Bethesda wants coaching, you know where to find us.
Let me pull it up now quickly. Let's see who's. I wonder if I can see who's making it.
Yeah, go on.
What
I
do
don't
you
know any
reckon
studios.
is the best Fallout game?
The best one. I know what the
Yeah,
best one is, but I haven't actually played it. Everyone says the best one is New Vegas, but I haven't played New Vegas. So the best one that I've played is three, because I've only played three and four. I'm so sorry, everyone. Actually, no, that's a lie. I've played three, four, and a little bit of one. Um, yeah, yeah. I think it was one. It was one
what
or
would you
two.
say is your favorite out of the ones you played then?
I like three. I would say three and then one and then four. Three and one are so different. Like, do you know what Fallout One is like? Like, it's so different to the others.
I've heard sort of bits of it. Yeah,
It's like a very old school PC game. If I'm in the mood for that, that's my favorite. But sometimes it's like a little bit obtuse to play because it's ancient. Like, it is ancient. It's really painful sometimes. But also, I'm a big fat nerd, so I kind of
yeah,
also like that sometimes. I don't know. But I'd say three. On
yeah.
most
I'd
days, I'll
I'd
play
say
three.
three is good. They've got they've got the problem with four where they've tried to go a little bit too mainstream with it, and they've lost that like real fucking weirdness that it had.
Yeah.
Although I do like that it's not black and white like three is.
Yeah, the
Like if
color is
Fallout
nice.
3 was made in the style of New Vegas, you could join the Enclave as well. There'd be two or three other factions,
Mm,
and you could very much decide who do you align with.
mm.
Versus Fallout 3 is you are a good guy.
Yeah. Well, unless
And that's
you
something the Fallout games does really well is it lets you be a bad person.
well, you can do bad decisions, but you can't like you can't have like a purely bad character. I mean, I think the worst thing you can do is blow up the nuke at
You need to play
Megaton.
New Vegas, mate.
Of yeah, but like Fallout Three, you can blow up the bomb at Megaton, and that's pretty much the worst thing you can do that I know of. I'm sure there's some worse stuff out there, but like you like you said, you still have to be the good guy. In four, you have to
Yeah.
kind of be the good guy as well. Four is really like it's kind of got the same issues as Skyrim, like you said. It's a bit watered down compared to the other games, but maybe a bit
Bro, I
too
haven't
much.
finished Oblivion. I got bored.
Ah, Oblivion's
I know.
great. I love Oblivion.
I
I
was
love
like
Oblivion.
halfway through the Dark Brotherhood quest line.
Oh yeah,
I finished the Mages Guild, and then I was on like
sweet.
the last quest of the main quest, and I just couldn't be asked.
The last quest of the game is you have to finish the main game. It's so weird. You're gonna finish it and be like, "What the fuck was that?" It's so weird, mate. Trust me.
I've seen clips of it, yeah, like the big fucking dragon dude fighting Marine Stagon.
Yeah, but I don't want to. There's still more twists. I don't want to spoil it. It's so funny.
Okay,
It's
I'll
so
play it when
funny,
I get home. My Xbox is at home.
mate. Do it. Do it.
What
Trust me.
any other game recommendations?
I haven't really played many games recently. The last game I played was Minecraft, and that was like
Okay,
six
so you
months
are a
ago.
simp then.
Yeah, bro, 6 months ago. I like it. It's relaxing. It's like the only game that I find relaxing nowadays. Before that, what was I
Right.
playing? I don't,
This
I don't even
podcast
know.
has really gone to shambles.
It has, mate. We'll quit while we're ahead. Right. Thank you everyone for listening. If for whatever reason you're after physique and strength coaching, we both do physique and strength. We don't really talk about strength too much, but we're both strength coaches as well.
We'll just tell you to take more Halo and Anadrol. It works fine.
I don't tell them. Oh, I'll cut that out, mate. Fuck it. No. I'm kidding.
You're gonna get these in the post, mate, and you just need to take one. It's not steroids, don't worry.
It's
You'll be
but it does need a needle, and you do need to take it within the next half an hour. But don't worry about it.
yeah. If you don't take your steroids at exactly 8:42 p.m., you're fucked.
Yeah, your hormone levels will crash. Anyway, if for whatever reason this podcast makes you want physique or strength coaching, you can find us on Instagram at Lactic Addict Luke or at Jack Archer Coaching. We both have spaces currently on the team, but we can't always guarantee that because we're busy boys. If you want to fire us any questions or catch up with us and see what we're like when we're not trying to stay entertaining for an hour and we get a little bit of time to edit ourselves, then head over there. And thank you all
Wait,
for
you were
listening.
trying?
No, I mean, what? Maybe. I left a couple of funnies in reserve, you know, comedy in reserve.
Funnies in a podcast.
Spinners in reserve. Right. Thank you everyone for listening. Have a good one.